Rising. Happy Saturday. I hope everybody's having a positive, productive start to their day today. If not, I pray that your angels, ancestors, spirit guides, and of course the Most High help you with that today. I also pray that He clothes us in His armor from head to toe, that He strengthens our discernment and guides our steps as we go throughout this day. That being said, we're back in our original location, the living room, studio, whatever you want to call it, is under construction right now. So I've moved us back into the bedroom for the time being. But I really like this setup. I like the tapestry in the background. So nonetheless, we're going to get into it. It is 8:45 a.m. local time. Today is June 21st, 2025. We're going to start off our morning mantra, then we'll get into our affirmations and the oracles for the day. It's another sunny but humid day in my area, so we're just pushing through. All right, we actually got two mantras for the morning. One of them we've recently had. I refuse to deprive myself of the tiny, splurgy pleasures that spark my daily joy. And then we also got, I choose what's better and healthier for me. Instant gratification is fleeting, but smug satisfaction lasts forever. Copper, go on. Get out of my room. Thank you. All right, so I choose what's better and healthier for me. A lot of times, those choices aren't necessarily the easy choices to make, but they offer the longest satisfaction. And as I say very often, usually the best choice is the hardest choice to make. All right, we're going to get our grief affirmation for the day. 2:22 on the timer as I looked. It's perfectly okay to admit I'm not okay. Most definitely. None of us are perfect. We're all fighting our own battles. We're all dealing with our own struggles. Trials and tribulations come and go. And it's okay to admit that you're not okay. Going back to kind of what we talked about yesterday, not being afraid to ask for help. Don't be afraid to admit that you're not okay. Sometimes people know that you're not okay. They're just waiting for you to open up and say, hey, I'm not okay. I need a little bit of extra support. I need some encouragement. I try to do that every day, not only for myself. It's very important to be able to speak encouragement into your own life, but it's nice to be able to do that for others as well. Speaking kind words, speaking loving words, encouraging words to the people that we come in contact with throughout our day. It's not necessarily always easy, especially if we need that, but that's why it's so important to work on our own energy so that we can share that. Thank you very much. Happy Saturday. I hope you're having a positive, productive day so far today and a peaceful day as well. All right, we're going to get our chakra wisdom affirmation. Then we'll get our incense lit. Sometimes keeping a positive frame of mind is harder than we think it should be. Those are the times that we really need to push through and try to focus on the positive instead of the negative. There's so much negative in this world. Sometimes that can be difficult. All right, we got second chakra, sacral chakra, creative manifestation. Hi there. Happy Saturday. I hope you're having a positive, productive day so far today and a peaceful day as well. I hope you're having good weather in your area. All right. So with the sacral chakra, I believe that's sandalwood, but I'm not 100% on that. Yes, sandalwood is the fragrance that aligns with the sacral chakra. The sacral chakra is located right below our belly button. It's where a lot of our creative energy comes from. We can also store a lot of negative energy in that area. Movement in general, whether it's dance, exercise, just walking, can help open up our sacral chakra. All right, sandalwood. Love that fragrance. Like I said, the setup's a little bit different today, but we're rolling with it. All right, I have the ability to manifest and create positive outcomes in my life. It is a time for me to manifest what I need. I ask myself, what do I need? I am optimistic and creative in carrying out all of the tasks that come my way, even seemingly mundane ones, and I maintain a positive attitude in all I do. I am open to receive and I am deserving. That very much lines up with what we've already talked about this morning, our mantra, our affirmation. You know, it's okay to admit that you're not okay, but try not to stay stuck in that energy. I choose what's better and healthier for me. Instant gratification is fleeting, but satisfaction lasts forever. Making those small choices every day that benefit us in some way, shape, or form, whether that's physically, emotionally, spiritually. All right, now we'll get an affirmation from the Wild Offering Oracle. Creative manifestation. Remembering that words have power. Our thoughts even have power. The way you think, not only about yourself, but about the world that surrounds you. If we stay stuck in those negative thought patterns, it can have a very detrimental effect, not only on our day, but on our life. Confirmation. 7:22 when I looked at the timer. We got calmness and challenges. Just a reminder, most of these affirmations you can find in the shorts section. It won't be long until we're able to use the laptop again. I've just got to get the internet hooked up. And then when you guys view them, they'll be facing the right direction. All right, calmness. The inner divine is the witness of all. Remaining still and quiet, even during intense turbulence. So take a deep breath and then say, quiet my mind, dear divine. May your peaceful calm take over. Finding that peaceful place. We talked about it a lot this week. Making time for that quiet retreat. Sometimes that's all it takes to help us be more positive and to feel better, is to take that time to really be aware of our energy, be aware of our thoughts. A lot of times we really don't do that. And it can be a challenge. Going with our second affirmation, challenges. Unbearable situations throw you directly into God's arms if you are open. Take over, dear divine, and guide the right actions. Please take this burden and show me your will. You know, remembering that our angels, ancestors, spirit guides, the Most High are always there. They want to help us. They want us to feel better. They want us to do better. Even if you don't have somebody in your physical presence that you can say, hey, I'm not okay today, you always have the spirit realm to talk to about that. All right, we're going to go ahead and get our educational moment for the day with our state card, and then we'll get into the oracle cards for the day. You know, it is getting summertime. It is officially the second day of summer. It's hot and humid. Make sure you're drinking your water, making healthy choices. Going with our morning mantra, I choose what's better and healthier for me. Make healthier choices, whether that's with your diet, your friends, the environments that you put yourself in. Taking time to practice the pause and make the choices that are best for you. Not making decisions, that was quick, not making decisions based on what's best for everybody else. Do what's best for you. If you don't feel good today, be honest with yourself about the fact that you don't feel good and take the time to help yourself feel better. You know, I dealt with that yesterday and I kind of dealt with that again this morning. Sometimes we just need to take the time to focus on ourselves. And if that doesn't come easily to you with your schedule or your routine, scheduling the time to make time for yourself. Pamper yourself a little bit, help yourself feel better, making those healthier choices. All right, today we got Oklahoma. The capital is Oklahoma City. The nickname is the Sooner State. Oklahoma became a state November 16th, 1907. The state bird is the scissor-tailed flycatcher. Never heard of that bird before. The state flower is mistletoe. And the state motto is labor conquers all things. Quick facts. Will Rogers was born on a large ranch in Cherokee Nation near what would later become Loga. Oh, I don't even know how to pronounce that. Oologah, Oologah, Oklahoma. He is a famous Native American who went from cowboy to Broadway star, actor, and writer. Thousands of people swarmed into Oklahoma in 1889 to stake claims for free land. It became known as the Oklahoma Land Rush. The National Cowboy Hall of Fame is located in Oklahoma City. I didn't even know such a thing existed. The National Cowboy Hall of Fame. That would be interesting to find out what cowboys are in the National Cowboy Hall of Fame. That's quite interesting. All right, that's our educational moment for the day. We're going to get some affirmations from the Affirmators deck, and then we'll pull from the Namaste Stress Less deck. And because I moved everything around, I don't have the cards out that we pulled yesterday. I think with the Affirmators, it was inspiration and joy were the two cards that we got yesterday. Finding inspiration in the people, places, things that surround you. Embracing the little things in life that bring us joy. You know, whether it's spending time with our children, you know, sitting outside, listening to the birds sing in the morning. It's usually those little things in life that bring us so much joy. We don't even realize how much joy they bring us until they're not there anymore. All right, we got divine timing. Magic on the bottom of the deck. And trust on the top of the deck. We've seen that a lot here lately. Trust in yourself. You know, trust that you know what's best for you. Making decisions based on that. All right, divine timing. Everything is timing, and timing is everything. Gladly, I release my concern over timing and let things happen when and as they will. I trust that the divine schedule makers know what they're doing. It can take a long time to reach divine middle management. You know, going back to what I already said this morning, trusting the divine. But also, you know, embracing the time that we have here. I said it the other day, and it's been coming up a lot in my day-to-day life here lately. Healthy people die every day. It's a blessing that we wake up every morning, that we get the opportunity to try again. You know, don't try to rush things. Take your time. A lot of people in this world get so consumed that they forget about how precious our time here really is. All right, and then we got magic. I believe in magic. I see evidence of it all the time. And though the tricks can possibly be explained away by something sensible and ordinary, I'd rather not ruin the fun. Other people can fill their days with mere coincidence. I fill mine with, holy crap, that's unbelievable. So, no matter how you look at it, there's so much magic in the world that we forget to acknowledge. The little things that bring us joy. Those little coincidences that you can't explain away. All right, and then we got trust. Trust came, I think this is like the third or fourth time this has come out this week. I trust that everything will be okay in the end, partially because I simply know it in my gut, but also because it's way more fun to live with trust and confidence than to be a defensive wiener. Trust in yourself, trust in the divine, trust that everything is going to play out as it should, as long as we choose what's better and healthier for us. Going back to our morning mantra. Even if you have to admit today that you're not okay, trust that eventually you will be okay. As long as we make positive choices, doing what's best for us, and then also lining up with the divine timing, trusting in divine timing. Going back to the calmness affirmation, calm before the storm. Sometimes those moments of calmness come to us and we don't embrace them. And then when the storm does come, we have to admit that we're not okay because we get overwhelmed. We get consumed by the storm because we didn't embrace the calmness while it was there. All right, now we'll pull from the Namaste, the Stress Less deck. A lot of times when we have to admit we're not okay, it's because we stress about things that, really in reality, stressing about it isn't going to change it. The better way to approach a stressful situation is to find your center, find some calm time to really sit down and think about what's happening, admitting that we're not okay, and reaching out either to the divine or to the people in our lives that we trust, admitting that we're not okay and asking for help. Sometimes when we are in a stressful environment, a stressful situation, it's very difficult for us to look at things from a different perspective. So instead of finding a solution, we just get consumed by the stress. Pay attention to your posture came out. Make time for a vacation. But the one that came out first is the future self. Imagine an aged version of yourself. Not 5 years older, not 10 years older, but a version of you that is satisfied with a long-lived life. Wow. Have a conversation with this wise old version of yourself. What advice would you get? Build a relationship and get to know the version of you, this version of you, for 8 minutes. You may find that what is bothering you in the present has little to no significance at all. Funny how we can turn a stressful situation into nothing at all. I actually shared it on my Facebook yesterday. I'm pretty sure it was yesterday. Going back to what I was just talking about, when you find yourself in a stressful situation, stop and practice the pause. Think about it for a few minutes. Whatever it is that you're stressing about, whatever it is that you're letting get the best of you, just it says 8 minutes here, but when I say practice the pause, I usually say 5 minutes. Just take 5 minutes and think to yourself, 5 months, 5 years from now, is that something that's really going to matter? Is it something that's so significant that it deserves the right to steal your joy at the present time? A lot of times the things that we're stressing about, it doesn't even really matter. A lot of stress come in our day-to-day life comes from having our priorities in the wrong place. When you really take the time to experience some calmness, to trust in yourself and in divine timing, to make better and healthier choices, and maybe even to admit that you're not okay, when you take the time to do that and you take the time to look at things from a different perspective and really ask yourself, does it really matter? And most of the time, it doesn't. Yes, there are things that we can do to improve not only our lives in general, but our physical, mental, and spiritual health. Prioritizing that. Taking the time to understand why you're feeling that way, to decide whether worrying or stressing about said thing or situation, is it really worth it? And focus your energy on the things that are truly important. The relationship that you build not only with yourself, but with the divine and with the people that are truly important in your life. A lot of times we give a lot of time and energy to people that, I'm not going to say they don't deserve it, because everybody deserves love, but are they reciprocating that energy? Are you stressing about somebody or a situation that isn't willing to reciprocate that love, that effort, that time and energy? Grand Rising, happy Saturday. It's good to see you. I hope you're having a positive, productive, and peaceful day today. All right, now we'll go ahead and pull from the Angels of Abundance deck, and then we'll get our angel numbers and pull from the Celestial Insights. And when I say those things, when I talk about really analyzing where you're at in your life and what you give your energy to, it's not necessarily an easy thing to do. That's why a lot of times we kind of have to recluse and get some alone time to be able to do that. And most of the time, it's not what we want to do. But the benefit that will have on your mental health, once you embrace that and you see that when you choose to make better and healthier choices for yourself, going back to the morning mantra, the satisfaction will be overwhelming. When you're able to release that stress, that weight off your shoulders, because a lot of us, whether it's for the people that are in our lives or whether it's because we feel like we have to, when we carry the weight of the world on our shoulders, a lot of times we don't even realize we're doing it. We don't realize how much it truly is weighing us down. And it can have a detrimental effect on our mental health, on our physical health, on our spiritual health. And we don't even realize it until it's not there anymore. All right, Angels of Abundance. That kind of made me choke up a little bit when I was saying that. All right, we just saw this the other day. Pay yourself first. What was I just talking about? Take care of you. Not necessarily in this card. It really talks about financially, but you could reference that as just with your energy. Your energy is worth money. We go to work 8, 10, 12 hours a day, and we give that energy to something outside of ourselves. And if we could just take a little chunk of that and give it to ourselves, it can make a huge difference. Not only about how we look at ourselves, how we love ourselves, but how we look at the challenges that life presents to us. Going back to what I said earlier, if we don't embrace and make time to experience calmness every day, when those challenges do present themselves, they're going to be overwhelming because we're staying in that high stress energy so much, worrying about things that really don't matter, that when a true challenge does present itself, we get overwhelmed because we don't take time to have calm, to have peace and quiet. Anxiety, that's the word that I was looking for. Our anxiety level is always so high, which not only affects our physical health with cortisol and just the different things that causes in our internal body and our mental space. It causes those situations that wouldn't normally be overwhelming to be overwhelming because we don't take the time to rest and rejuvenate. All right, do the work is on the bottom of the deck. Do the self work. Do the inner work. Love yourself enough to do the inner work. All right, release resentments about money. Yesterday we got a lot about money. It's not all about money. That's the mistake that a lot of people make in life. I say it often, money doesn't buy happiness. Sure, having money makes life a little bit easier. It's important to be able to pay our bills and, get the things that we need. But worrying too much about money can have a detrimental effect. Look at all these people in the world that have, there are literally people in this world that could end world hunger, could end poverty, could end so much. If you took, we'll say, the top 20 millionaires of the world, if they all came together and truly wanted to do good in this world, they could end all suffering. But greed overcomes people. And sometimes we get greedy and we don't even realize it. We get consumed by how much money can we have and how much stuff can we buy. And in reality, most people are seeking satisfaction in all the wrong places. And that obsession with money and material things can cause us to stress and be overwhelmed and to miss out on the magic in the world. Going back to our affirmation from the Affirmators deck. Magic comes in all shapes and sizes. And nature shows us so many things. We can learn so much from nature, especially appreciating the little things in life. When you're sick, let me rephrase that. If you were to approach somebody that was counting their days, they've been diagnosed with some terminal illness, or, if they're lucky, they've lived a super long life and, it's just coming to an end. If you were to sit down and talk to those elders and those people and ask them, the things that they valued most about this life, or the things that they're going to miss about this life, I promise you their answer isn't going to have anything to do with money or physical possessions. It's going to be their family, their friends, the memories that they were able to make, the moments that they enjoyed just living. All right, pay yourself first. Make yourself your most important financial obligation by setting aside a portion of your income every time you are paid. This loving form of self-care ensures that you'll have savings to invest in your present and your future. just in a nutshell, investing in yourself. That doesn't necessarily always mean financially, but that could involve and does involve, making smart financial choices. And that could be everything from, starting a savings account to, investing in things that are going to contribute to your long term stability, making smart purchases. All right. And then we got do the work. It's not enough to dream or pray. You've also got to take the positive action steps that you are being divinely guided to take. Consistently working on your priorities will make them flourish like a lush flower garden. What was I just talking about? Really taking the time to find out where your priorities lie. What's really important? What are things that maybe are stressing you out or causing strife in your life that really aren't that important? Going back to our morning mantra, I choose what's better and healthier for me, making healthier choices, prioritizing not only your physical health, but your mental and spiritual health. It goes a long way. All right, and then we have release resentments about money. Yes, the money system of the world can seem upsetting, but holding resentments about finances just pushes your abundance away. Instead, see money as a tool you can use to better the world. And this shift will help you attract support and golden opportunities. The shift in perspective. We literally were just talking about that. Don't resent people that have more money than you do. Do the work. If money is that important to you, know that you're going to have to do the work. Not everybody wins the lottery. Not everybody gets some massive inheritance when a family member dies. If it's that important to you, get up and do the work to bring it into your life. But in reality, prioritizing yourself first. Looking at things from a higher perspective. Knowing and accepting that, yes, money is important, but your mental, physical, emotional health is way more important than money. Are you working so much that you're sick all the time because you don't take care of yourself? You're too busy working because you got to make that money? Been there, done that. And I promise you, it didn't matter how much money I had. I was exhausted. I never felt good. I never got to do anything that I actually enjoyed doing, because if I wasn't working, if I wasn't working at my job, I was working at home or trying to sleep. It's really about perspective, and it's about priorities. I know that's not always, believe you me, I know it's not the easiest choice to make. But sometimes sacrificing those material things, it's worth it in the end. Going back to what I talked about before, it may be challenging, but going back to our namaste card and the example I gave of talking to an elder, in your mind, project yourself into the future to when you're 80 years old and you're on your last leg of this journey. I promise you, the moments that you look back on that bring you the most happiness that you're going to miss when you're not here, they don't have anything to do with money. Sure, you can buy lavish vacations and a fancy wardrobe, but in reality, you can create just as good of memories spending time outside in nature, going for a hike, spending time with your family, your kids, your fur babies, and just embracing the calmness, learning how to enjoy that quiet time. A lot, and I still struggle with it, but a lot of us, we've never truly experienced calmness. It was, It was 34:44 on the timer when I looked. We've never really experienced true calmness. We've never learned how to embrace that quiet time. So in the beginning, it's very uncomfortable. Like we're so programmed to feel like we have to constantly be on the go. We have to constantly be working and doing. And that's not always the case. A lot of times, being in that frame of mind distracts us and keeps us away from the things that are really important. Doing the inner work, realizing that time is precious, time is divine, trusting that your world isn't going to come to an end if you make time to love yourself. Make time to prioritize yourself and the people that you love. Not all of us are alone in this world. A lot of us are. And really, those of us that are alone, it's more important to look at things from the perspective of, we don't always have to be on the go. We don't have to always be entertaining other people to find the simple pleasures in life. All right, now we're going to pull from the Chakra Wisdom Oracle. So pay yourself first, release resentments about money, and do the work. For me, do the work is more about inner work than it is about money. But that's all. It's all going to depend on where your priorities are, what's important to you. Trust yourself enough to make the right decisions. Find the magic in life. I believe in magic. I believe in magic. Who sings that song? I have no idea, but that's a good song. I see evidence of it all the time. We're surrounded by it. Whether it's good or bad, there's light and dark in every aspect of this world. It's perfectly okay to admit you're not okay. It's perfectly okay to take time for yourself. It's perfectly okay to release the stress and anxiety. Guilt. Release the guilt for sure. Expansion on the bottom of the deck. We're also seeing workaholic. That came out yesterday. And then insecurity. Ooh, look at that devil energy in that card. Release your insecurities. I'm pretty sure that's the first time we're seeing that card. It's represented by the color red, which is the root chakra. Look at that imagery. Look at that light trying to bust out of his heart. And look how he's like, either hugging himself or just like holding on, like out of fear and anxiety. He doesn't look happy. Look at how sad he looks. All right. Wow. See how this devilish little cord is trying to wiggle its way into his heart? We're going to read that one first because I'm very curious. Demon Red Rainbow. Really look at the imagery of that card. The greatest adversary is the one living inside of me. Bob is an inventor, yet never finishes anything. Always giving up on his projects, convinced they are useless. One day he finishes something and is elated until a demon appears taunting him. The demon red rainbow is comprised of our greatest fears. In a dream, Bob discovers that he can distinguish between real and imagined fears. The demon red rainbow can no longer stop him from realizing his dreams. Inspiration. Miraculous changes lie ahead. Life always takes a turn for the better when we face our demons. Stay on course. Trust that an ally will appear. The gift of adversity is never given without the ability to overcome it. Personal inquiry. Do I listen to my fear? How can I tap into my courage? Key ideas: being courageous, facing adversity, finding tremendous power within, undervaluing your contribution. Key words: freedom, bravery, and success. Be brave, be courageous, step out. We got it earlier in the week, stepping out of our comfort zone. Going back to the morning mantra, I choose what's better and healthier for me. It's perfectly okay to admit that you're not okay. You know, a lot of times, fear, insecurities, lack of confidence, lack of faith, lack of knowledge, lack of self-love can causes us to hurt ourselves and we don't even realize it. It causes us to judge ourselves. I say it all the time. Most of the time, we are our own worst critic. And that can be, in ways, that can be a positive thing, because if it encourages you to make the changes, but it can also be a negative thing because it holds us back from doing the things that we really want to do. Because we're afraid of what other people will think. Or, we're afraid that it won't work out. Sure, we all experience challenges. But trust that even if you take that step to try a new project, to learn something new, even if it doesn't work out the way that we want it to or the way that we think it should, we'll still learn something from it. Either something about ourselves, something about the world around us. Sometimes just stepping out of that, I don't know why I'm seeing it this way, but the fight, flight, or freeze. A lot of us that have experienced trauma in our lives, we have a tendency to do that. We freeze because we're scared. Because we're, fill in the blank. The cause of the fear, there's unlimited possibilities, really. But embracing the opportunity to heal. A lot of times, when we step out of our comfort zone, when we love ourselves just a little bit more to try something new or to put ourselves out there, it frees us from that self-judgment. A lot of times it can free us from the guilt that we feel, because so often we carry around guilt and shame and regret because of our insecurities, because we're not loving ourselves the way we deserve to be loved. Taking the time to, in our Namaste card, it talks about connecting with your future self, but it's also important to connect with that inner child. What are you afraid of? Why are you afraid? A lot of times we're afraid because of something that's happened in our childhood that's caused us to be super protective of our heart. We don't want to get hurt anymore. We don't want to feel that pain anymore. We don't want to let people in that truly love us because we're afraid that they're going to let us down and hurt us again. It was 44:44 on the timer when I looked. Heartache, we can learn a lot from it, but it can also hold us back in a lot of ways as well. All right, let's get into the guilt. And something I want to point out in this imagery. See how she's in the light. She has the halo. I don't remember where it talked about the mundane. I don't remember which card we read that talked about the mundane. But even though she's doing chores, she's smiling. She's wearing her halo. The sun is shining. You know, not everything is luxurious. But then you've got this one back here. The way I look at this is it's the same woman in different energies. See how this is yellow? Yellow is a very happy, inspiring color. Back here, it's blue. Blue is emotions, sadness, and in this picture, she is sad. It's up to us whether we choose to find our happiness. Oh my gosh, I never even noticed that. Look at that. She's got, she's handcuffed. She's got a chain. Being chained to our obligations. I mean, she is working. That's what we've been talking about this morning. I never noticed that before. All right. Guilt. Saint Apricot. I am sorry, but I have to take care of myself. The legend. Apricot truly is a saint. She sets aside her own needs and happiness to help others, even allowing freeloading friends to get involved in her business. One day, her latest business partner announces that she wants to dissolve their company and split the profits. Apricot stands up to her. The company is hers and she did all the work, while the so-called partner did nothing. Now she will only give from her excess, not from her reserve. Inspiration. Do not do for others what they need to do for themselves. Speak truth from your heart. Honesty is freedom. Any guilt is fear of being disliked. Personal inquiry. Am I giving away too much time and energy and resenting it? Is my anger really guilt? Key ideas. Self-care, burdened by obligations, enabling others, finding personal power. Keywords, awareness, awakening, and release. What did I talk about at the beginning of this video? Trusting yourself to do what's best for you. Not giving your time and energy to people that do not reciprocate that. And even when they do, be cautious of how much of your time and energy you give away. Make sure you're pouring into your own cup before you start pouring into somebody else's cup. Trust that if those people truly do love and care about you, they will understand that you have to make choices based off what's best for you. Going back to the morning mantra, I choose what's better and healthier for me. Instant gratification is fleeting, but satisfaction lasts forever. All right, and then we got expansion. Sky God. You'll see it when you believe it. The legend. Sky God was seeking wise counsel to choose the color of the sky. He wanted the beings of Earth to feel serene when they looked at his work. Other great spirits remind him to trust his intuition. Nice. He will know the right color when he sees it. Sky God trusts and sees the color clearly. Thus, the sky becomes sky blue. Inspiration. Seeking good advice is vital when you are pushing into new territory. Stay away from anyone who is critical of your dreams. This indicates possibly changing your friends. Personal inquiry. How can I create powerful alliances? Are new people entering my life? Key ideas. Wise counsel, fruitful collaboration, spiritual support, state of uncertainty, and being guided. Keywords, counseling, connections, and progress. That's everything that we've already talked about this morning, And we did get the card several times this week, detox your friendships, Trusting in divine timing, trusting that even though we let go of people, places, situations that are in our lives, that all that's doing is making room for positive people and situations to come into our lives. Embrace the opportunity to expand, release the fear, release the guilt, embrace those opportunities. All right. Now we'll pull from the Wandering Heart Oracle, but I'm going to pause just for a second and grab my sleeves. If I turn the fan off, I'll get hot. So the best thing to do is just cover up my arms until I do get hot. I hate to admit it, but unfortunately, I'm at that time in my life where hot flashes are a real thing. It actually happened to me a lot yesterday, unfortunately. All right, the Wandering Heart Oracle. Roll up my sleeves a little bit and get serious about it. And while we're stopped, I'm going to take a drink too. I hope everybody's having a positive, productive day so far today. A peaceful day. It is the second day of summer. The heat wave is on its way, from what I've heard. All right. It's perfectly okay to admit you're not okay, but don't stay there. Do what you need to do, whatever works for you. Some creative manifestation, finding some calmness, spending time in nature, getting some exercise, eating a good healthy meal, whatever it is that works for you to help you feel better. Releasing the insecurities, releasing the guilt. That will be doing that inner work. I say it all the time. If you work on healing your inside, it will show on the outside. I choose what's better and healthier for me. Whether that's better food choices, better friends choices, better job choices, whatever those choices are, do what's best for you and yours. I realize, children and family and all that jazz. Look at that celebration. I am on the bottom of the deck. Restore on the top of the deck. Number 2, number 10, and number 14. This is very much lining up with what we've already said this morning. All right. I am. I am love in its purest form. Vulnerability supports my evolution. Certainty and empowerment. You are the embodiment of strength. You've learned to be accepting of all flaws, knowing they do not define your existence. Wow. I mean, that's it, what it talked about in the insecurity card. You have arrived back at your home state of being. Here you are at ease with free flowing assertiveness. You know yourself. You are proud. You trust in your ability to make beneficial decisions. You have no regrets moving forward. You sit in gratitude, appreciating the beauty that is life. This feeling is beyond reach. You are right where you are supposed to be. And then an affirmation that it has is at the bottom. I am happy because I choose to be. I'm adored because I deserve to be. The love I give out comes back tenfold. I am patient knowing that all good things arrive in divine timing. And we got the divine timing affirmation out here already. We deserve to be happy. We deserve to be healthy. We deserve to be able to be who we truly are without constantly feeling guilt and insecurities because we're not what other people want us to be. I love it when it comes full circle like that. All right, number 10, restore. Breathe easy. Rekindle and retreat. Love is in the air. Sparks are flying again. You feel confident, full, and refreshed. You are elated from the inside out. Your heart is open to the possibility of new love or giving a familiar love a second chance. There's no resistance. Your mind is made up. You've spent enough time meditating on definite feedback from within. So, going back to what we already talked about this morning, that doesn't necessarily mean love of another person. That could be love for yourself, reconnecting with yourself, getting back to self-love, self-appreciation. So don't assume that it's another person, because in reality, if we don't truly love ourselves, we're never going to be able to truly accept and receive love from another person or from the divine for that matter. I am restored. It is time to celebrate. If you put these three cards together, I am restored. It's time to celebrate. Celebrate how far you've come on your self-love journey. Don't feel guilty about it. Embrace it. You know, we're all at different points on that journey. You may not be there yet, but if you're not there yet, don't give up. You know, don't let the challenges that come from that distract you from the goal. Do the work. And know that your future self will appreciate you for it. All right, celebration number 14. Celebrate your milestones, major and minor, achievement and emotional fulfillment. These are the moments that last forever. Friends and family surround you with cheer. Lovers do the most to show their compassion. There may be cake and balloons, but mostly there's laughter and physical touch. You join hands with one another to send up prayers. You share hugs to give thanks. You cherish the love you have for those around you and vice versa. Going back to what we already talked about, embracing the people, the relationships in your life that want what's best for you, that reciprocate that love and that energy that you put out. It's been a long time coming. The time to rejoice is now. Share your story with those who are eager to listen. You have the wisdom to inspire. Even on those days where you don't feel okay, embrace the challenge. See it as a test for yourself. Am I going to be able to restore my energy? Am I going to be able to restore that self-love? I am going to be able to restore whatever it is. You know, we are all at different parts of our journey, but the ultimate destination is the same. But we say it here often. It's not just about the destination. It's just as much about the journey as it is the destination, because there's so much that we're meant to learn. All right, now we'll pull from the animal out. Actually, let's go. I totally have skipped ahead and didn't even do the angel numbers or the celestial insights. I'm just pulling out my boxes in order. It is a different setup. Please forgive me. All right, we'll get the angel numbers. If you are at that point in your journey where you do feel restored, don't forget to thank the divine for helping you get there. We all fall short, but so many of us forget to give thanks where thanks is due. Your angels, ancestors, spirit guides, your higher self, and of course the Most High. They're always there helping you, whether you acknowledge them or not. But acknowledging them and thanking them the way, just saying. Especially when it comes to our ancestors, our lost loved ones. It was really heavy on my mind a lot yesterday. I was thinking a lot about my grandmother. You know, I learned a lot from my grandma, and in the way of, I didn't realize it until she was already gone, how much I actually learned from her. Just about living day-to-day life, loving myself. My grandmother, every morning when she woke up singing. It didn't matter what was on the agenda for the day. It didn't matter how she felt or what was going on in the world. She woke up singing, and she woke up ready to love anybody that came into her life. She carried and spread love everywhere she went, which encourages me to do the same thing. All right. That was quick. Angel numbers. 4, organization. 1551, keep your dream. 818 on the bottom of the deck. We've seen that this week. Breaking old patterns. 000, reflect. On the top of the deck. Followed by 99, rebirth. 420, potential. Reflect. That, I know that's the first time we've seen that one. And I'm pretty sure that's the first time we've seen 1551. Oh, reflect. So 000, 4, 818, and 1551. 000, reflect. Soul journey, inner reflection, alignment, infinite possibilities, mindfulness, and contemplation. Take time to reflect on your soul's journey. You are a part of an infinite universe where all things are possible. Clear your mind, realign your thoughts, and rediscover your purpose. How can I reconnect with my soul's journey? What steps can I take to realign with the infinite possibilities of the universe? Spend a few minutes today in quiet reflection, meditate, or write about your thoughts and feelings to gain clarity on your current path. We've talked about all of that already this morning. Reflect, reevaluate. Inner reflection. Where are you on your journey? Are you still carrying some guilt or some insecurities that are slowing you down? All right, then we got 4, organization. Focus, discipline, clarity, structure, empowerment, and problem solving. Stay focused on your life journey. Your angels want you free from distractions. Good organization empowers you to isolate and overcome the difficulties you've been facing. What steps can I take to better organize my life and stay focused on what truly matters? Today, set aside time to organize your thoughts, plans, or environment, allowing yourself to tackle challenges with clarity and purpose, going all the way back to the very beginning of where we started. I choose what's better and healthier for me. Challenges. Unbearable situations throw you directly into God's arms if you are open. Please take over, dear divine, and guide the right actions. Please take this burden and show me your will. Embracing the challenges. Embracing the calm before the storm. Getting your thoughts organized, getting your environment organized. All right, then 818. Breaking old patterns. I'm pretty sure this is like the 3rd or 4th time we've seen this week. Patterns, reflection, change, growth, mindset, and cycles. Pause and reflect before moving forward with any project. Even if you're deeply invested, taking time to reconsider can benefit everyone involved. Avoid getting stuck in negative thought patterns, as what we focus on tends to manifest. Going back to our chakra affirmation, creative manifestation, being aware of our thoughts, being aware of our words. What old patterns or negative thoughts are holding you back? How can you break these cycles and focus on positive change? Going back to our chakra wisdom oracle with the insecurities. Take time for a personal retreat or journal about patterns you want to change. Reflect on past experiences. Shift your mindset and introduce small positive changes to build healthier habits. We say it here all the time. Smaller goals to accomplish a bigger goal. It doesn't have to happen overnight. Just making those small, subtle changes can have a huge impact. Not only about how we see ourselves, but how we see certain situations that we may be challenged with at this time. And then 1551. Keep your dream. Dreams, focus, faith, courage, goals, and spirit. Focus on the positive and stay dedicated to your desired outcomes. It's time to invest your faith and efforts into your ideas and pursue your goals with unwavering determination. Your spirit is both beautiful and courageous. What can you do today to align with your dreams? How will you stay motivated and focused despite the challenges? Create a vision board or set clear goals to stay focused on your dreams. Remind yourself why these goals matter and let this motivation drive you. Trust in your courage and keep moving forward. Very much lining up with the number 4 organization and the 000 reflect. They're all very much connected. Take the time to reflect on the patterns that need to be broken, maybe different things that you need to organize. Reflect on the dreams that you want to focus on, understanding that, if we try to accomplish too much at one time, we're going to get overwhelmed and we're going to give up. So, setting those goals, but also having realistic expectations of yourself when it comes to achieving those goals. All right, now we'll pull from the Celestial Insights. Don't allow challenges to cause you to give up on your dreams. Going back to our Angel of Abundance cards, release resentment about money. Don't think that because you don't have the money that you're not going to be able to accomplish it. If it's meant to be, the divine will make a way. Oh my goodness, it was 1:11:11 when I looked at the timer. Confirmation. Expansion takes time. Healing takes time. Embrace divine timing and watch the magic happen. Know that you have to put in the work too. You can't just sit at home on your couch and expect it to happen. But as long as you do your part, trust in divine timing and watch the magic happen. It's not easy, and I'm not trying to say it as if it is. What did I say at the very beginning of this video? Usually the best thing to do is the hardest thing to do. For real. Especially when it comes to breaking old patterns. All right, Celestial Insights. Time. Allure, cherish on the bottom of the deck, followed by patience, and then embrace. Embrace divine timing. Trust and observe behind that. Trust in divine timing. All right. Time. Time is your greatest ally for growth and healing. Have you been rushing through life? Trust in the timing of things. Patience will bring you the results you seek. Be patient, not only with yourself, but with everything that's going on around you. If we try to rush it, we're going to miss something and it's going to fall apart. Patience is a virtue that we all need to work on. All right, and then allure, cherish. Cherish the beauty that attracts you. Have you been too busy to appreciate the good things around you? Take time to enjoy and value the moments and people that bring you joy. What did we talk about at the beginning of the video? Slow down. Take time to appreciate the little things in life that mean so much, that when we stay busy and caught up in this world around us, we miss it. We miss the magic that's around us every day. Embrace. Embrace the changes happening around you. Have recent changes made you uneasy? Accept them, adjust, and discover the opportunities that come with transformation. That's self-transformation. When you love yourself, when you take the time to take care of yourself, the transformation happens naturally. You don't make it happen, it just happens because you're taking care of your. Oh, hello. Hello. Happy Saturday. It's good to see you. When you really take that time to love yourself and embrace the process, to take time to work on your insecurities, to break old patterns, to reflect and to organize your thoughts and your goals. Even taking the time to reflect on what you want your future self to look like. On the other side of the journey, on the other end of the journey, what do you want to look like? What do you want your life to look like? How do you want to feel? Trust that the divine will help you on that journey, but we have to know what we want. If we don't know what we want, how can they give it to us? How can they help us get it? Going back to the reflect in the organization, 000 and number 4. If we don't know what we want, the divine can't help us get it. So we really have to take the time to reflect, confirmation, to reflect on where we've been, where we are right now, and where we want to go in the future. Setting goals, being aware of the patterns that need to be broken, the insecurities that we need to heal, the guilt that we need to release so that we can become who we want to become. So that we can accomplish the things that we want to accomplish. It's not just gonna happen. You know, going back to our Angel of Abundance cards, we have to do the work. When that card came out, I said that it talks about money in that card, but when I see that card, that's not what I think of. I think of doing the inner work. Embrace the journey. Take the time to work on yourself. Stop giving all your time and energy and effort to either people that don't appreciate it, a job that doesn't deserve it, fill in the blank, whatever your personal situation is. All right, now we're going to pull from the Animal Allies birds. We got Robin on the bottom of the deck as we're getting started. And keeping your dreams alive, no matter what challenges this world throws at you. Don't let that make you feel insecure. Now that also being said, sometimes we focus our energy on something that's not meant for us. So, really being aware of roadblocks, detours, maybe you just keep putting time and effort into energy into something that's just, no matter how much you try, no matter how much you work at it, it's just not happening. Maybe that's an area where you need to reflect and choose to do what's better and healthy for you. You may be putting time and effort and energy into something that's not meant for you. That's why self-reflection is so important, knowing what's best for you, knowing what's going to bring you happiness. Because if it's something that's not going to bring you happiness, then it's not meant for you. But if you don't know what you want, if you don't know what makes you happy, then you're not going to know that it's not meant for you, right? I almost sounded like a tongue twister, but hopefully that made sense. All right, Animal Allies. Penguin. It hasn't been that long since we saw the penguin card. Swan on the bottom of the deck. I saw a swan yesterday. Toucan on the top of the deck. I think that's the first time we've gotten that as well. penguin. That the penguin talks about dreams. We've gotten that card enough now to where when I see it, I can kind of remember what it's about. All right. Dreaming, astral projection, adaptability, family, using standard skills in unusual ways, community, innovation, and persistence. Penguin wisdom. There are always ways to find new uses for established skills. Repurposing the familiar to make something new is a good use of effort and time. When penguin appears, pay attention to your dreams. Practice trying to direct them before you fall asleep or when you are in a liminal state. The very same skills needed for directing your dreams can alter your waking life too. Penguin wants you to know it's possible this whole life thing is all a dream. Make it what you want it to be. Very much lining up with the angel number 1551. Keep your dream. Really, all the angel numbers. 000, reflect. Reflect on what your dreams are. Have you gotten so consumed by just living life that you've lost track of your dreams? What were your dreams when you were a kid? What did you always want to be growing up? What made you happy when you were a kid? What just brings you what activity just makes your whole heart going back? I don't know if I can pull it up without messing up all the other ones. Going back to the insecurity card, that light shining from his heart. What is something that just makes your heart beam? But because you're afraid, insecurity, you have fear of what other people are going to think, about judgment, about money, about the destination, you don't do it. That's something to reflect on. All right. Then we got swan. Very interesting that came out because I saw a swan yesterday. And when I saw that swan, I thought to myself, wow, that's not very often that you just see a swan. It was like, you know how there's those apartment complexes that have like a man-made pond and it's got a fountain in the middle. Well, that's what it was. And there was a bunch of Canadian geese in that pond. But there was also a swan in that pond all by itself. And it's not very often that you see swans by themselves. Usually they stay in pairs. And I thought, man, that's really weird. Like, I wonder if that's somebody's pet swan or like I really noticed it and thought about it. So I find that very interesting that card came out. All right. Swan superpowers: inner beauty, emotional sensitivity, grace, self-assuredness, transformation, and fierce loyalty. Swan wisdom: the way a person reacts to things often reveals more about how they feel about themselves than anything else. Recognizing where one can grow or shift is a skill that can be cultivated. When swan appears, believe that real change is possible. Empower yourself and those you care about by acknowledging the possibilities that small steps forward can bring to fruition. Swan wants you to know. Consider giving the gift of a fresh start to someone in your life, including yourself, if you'd like one. The grace you offer others is a beautiful thing. Just don't forget to save some for yourself. I mean, I've pretty much already said all that this morning. Loving yourself as well as loving others. Taking the time to reflect, to see, what we need to work on within ourselves, to restore us back to our true authentic power. Going back to the Wandering Heart Oracle, I am, restore, and celebration. I am confirmation. Oh, I saw 2 owls the other day when I was on. Oh, nice. Oh, congratulations. That's a big deal. I hope it gave you some encouragement or some insight. Owls are very much, especially in the Native American tradition, owls are very cherished. Like in the Native American tradition, they're a protected bird. And like when they find one that has passed away for whatever reason, they very much cherish their feathers. They have a lot of spiritual connections. That's awesome. Congratulations. All right, now we got toucan. It hasn't been that long since we saw the owl card either. All right. Toucan superpowers. Exploring, but also nesting. Creativity, storytelling, being both introverted and extroverted. Toucan wisdom. 2 things can be true at the same time. It is possible to feel 2 emotions at once, even if they are opposites. One does not cancel the other. When toucan appears, embrace the parts of you that feel at odds with each other. Examine the aspects of yourself where a more loving approach could be cultivated. Toucan wants you to know you are capable of so much more than you even realize. You can do many things that seem at odds with one another. Example, being tired and still exercising, or being angry and still feeling compassionate. No part of who you are is out of character, even if it feels that way sometimes. So, just because, going back to our grief affirmation, it's perfectly okay to admit that you're not okay. Just because a certain part of yourself doesn't feel okay today doesn't mean you have to be miserable all day. It was 1:27:27 on the timer when I looked. And that's going to be different for everybody. And one of the examples that it gave was being an introvert and an extrovert. I am very much an introvert. But that wasn't necessarily something that I always embraced. Like I almost felt guilty for that. But at the same time, I very much enjoy interacting with other people, learning from other people, getting out and meeting other people and, participating in different activities and whatnot. But I have to know my own limits and know that, that's not something that I can do every day. But that doesn't change the fact that that duality doesn't exist, Just because you're making healthier choices as far as your diet goes doesn't mean that you have to, wow, that did come up. Remember at the very beginning, we got 2. Look at that. That did come up. I refuse to deprive myself of the tiny splurgy pleasures that spark my daily joy. So, it's the weekend. It's summertime. It's maybe you want to go get a scoop of ice cream with your girlfriends. It's okay to do that. No, don't eat a whole gallon of ice cream, but it's okay to splurge. Don't make yourself miserable just because you're trying to be better and do better. No, you don't want to go get a double scoop waffle cone every day, but once a month to go hang out with your girlfriends and enjoy the beautiful weather and get outside and do something, that's okay. That's crazy that I put that back because we don't normally take two, but yeah, it's okay. I mean, and that's just an example that I give, but it's going to be different for everybody. Okay, let me get a drink of water and then we'll pull from the animal spirit and the herbal astrology. All right, animal spirit. We didn't even make it this far yesterday. I cut my video very short yesterday, but I didn't really feel good yesterday. I woke up early this morning, but yesterday I woke up really early and was out and about. And when I got home, I just did not feel good. And so I tried. I think we got about maybe halfway through, and then I just called it because, just being honest, I felt like that's what the cards were telling me to do. But it was a short one yesterday. I think it was only about 45 minutes, so we didn't make it this far. All right, Animal Spirit Oracle. Wolf is what flipped over. Leader of the pack. Spider on the bottom of the deck. We just recently got that. And bat. It hasn't been that long since we've gotten any of these. Because I looked up that song, Leader of the Pack, the last time we got wolf. And when look at that hummingbird on the bottom of the deck. Last time we got the bat card, we got the hummingbird, and I want to say it was the moth. When we got that bat card, we had all three air energies that day. All right, wolf, which is earth energy. Guardian of family and tribe activism and ritual. The wolf's mission is to uphold the well-being and longevity of the pack. Healthy wolf energy expresses itself through activism, mentorship, humanitarian efforts, or teaching, religious or political studies. The wolf gets into trouble when it assumes every member of the tribe must follow suit. This includes children walking in their parents' footsteps. Although it will surely be uncomfortable at first, practicing tolerance helps balance out agitated wolf energy. Contemplate the following: embrace all and exclude none. When in balance, reliable, democratic, and fearless. When out of balance, judgmental and dominating. To bring into balance, practice letting go. Very much lining up with the insecurity card from the Chakra Wisdom Oracle. It's all about balance. All right, and then we got bat and spider. Spider is also earth energy, and look at that. Wolf and spider are right next to each other in the book. Interesting. All right. Creator of prosperity through life's work. Dharma. Wow, very much lining up with the Angel of Abundance card. Do the work. The spider is an ingenious creator. Its greatest gift is weaving the thread of Dharma into a vast, intricate web that supports the spider and those around it, both financially and spiritually. It is hard work, but the spider neither tires nor becomes impatient. This card reminds us creativity is everywhere. Be process-oriented rather than results-oriented, and soon your work becomes like the weaving of a magical, priceless tapestry. Abundance follows. When in balance, appreciative, enthusiastic, and prosperous. When out of balance, discouraged, tired, and forlorn. To bring into balance, playful creativity. Very much going back to our chakra affirmation, second chakra, sacral chakra, creative manifestation. embracing your creative side. Going back to what we talked about earlier, you know, what are things that you used to do as a child? You know, a lot of us lose that innocent creativity as we get older because we get so consumed by this world. All right, bat. Darkness, letting go, death leading to rebirth. Before emerging, the bat waits for the sun to set and the moon to rise. In the darkness, it can see all that was invisible in the daylight hours. The bat is a master of the subtle senses, of the underlying forces that cause some things to prosper and others to fade. The bat card shows up to signify the ending of a chapter, the closing of a door. The bat comes swiftly, encouraging us to move on. In just a few hours, a new day dawns. No more lingering in the past. When in balance, accepts, adapts, and adjusts. When out of balance, refuses to let go and reminisces. To bring into balance, watch the sunrise. In reality, watching the sunrise can benefit you in so many different ways, either from experiencing the calmness that we talked about with the calmness affirmation, to restoring your energy that we got from the Wandering Heart Oracle, to our angel number of reflection 000. When you sit and you just soak up that first little bit of sunlight from the day, and just soak it in and embrace that moment where because I mean, in reality, a lot of the world isn't awake when the sun is rising. So it's a very quiet, peaceful, but at the same time, the birds are chirping, the animals are waking up, the world, it's like I can just see like the trees stretching and saying good morning, and you know, the birds all getting up and talking to everybody and deciding what they're going to do for the day. You know, it can really allow you, going back to what we talked about earlier about embracing those little things that either we don't experience enough of, or we don't see them for their potential. If you can make yourself get up and catch the sunrise, I would like to encourage anybody and everybody to do that. Granted, I understand, I truly do. It's something that I've been working on myself here lately, how hard it is to wake up that early. But you don't have to do it every day. You know, just do it maybe once or twice a week. But you'd be surprised at the shift in your energy and the shift in your perspective when you take the time to do that. All right, now we'll pull from the Herbal Astrology deck. Going back to what I always think of when I see the Wolf card, the leader of the pack. Don't hesitate to be the leader of your own story. Don't let other people discourage you from making those decisions that are best and healthy for you. You know, something that may work for me may not work for you, vice versa. Or your family. You know, being the leader, making better, healthier choices, not only for yourself, but for your family. Or, you know, your tribe, however that, whatever that means for you. All right, Herbal Astrology Oracle. I finally finished my wild lettuce. I haven't done a video about it yet, but I need to. I didn't cook it completely down to like the resin form. Mine is more like a syrup form. But then when I put it in the bottles, I dropped the second bottle on the floor and dumped out about a cup of it. So I was just a little upset with myself for that. But nonetheless, I got 2 decent sized bottles, and I still haven't cooked down the stalks and the stems yet. I decided to take a break from it for a couple days. But when I do cook down the stems, I will probably do that to the resin, like cook it down all the way to the resin form. But something tells me, because my system has a tendency to be really sensitive to stuff like that, I don't necessarily need it cooked all the way. I know, yeah, that's what that's not exactly how I said it. I cussed myself for sure. I was just a little pissed. But thankfully, my reflexes did not delay, and thankfully it wasn't a glass bottle, or the whole bottle would have broken. But thankfully it was a metal bottle, and it was a bottle that had like a clip on the top of it, and this was my fault. I didn't realize that the clip was broken on the bottle, so when I went to pick it up by the clip, it literally just dropped. Like, it completely disconnected. But nonetheless, I did finally finish it. So I think I'm going to try some of it tonight, because my ankle has really been bothering me the last couple days. Kava Kava Community number 48. It has not been that long since we saw that card. Because the day that we got that card, the community energy was really strong. And I was just talking about our tribe, our community. Arnica, teacher, number 33 on the bottom of the deck. We are all, we saw that at the bottom of the affirmators deck this morning. We are all teachers, but we are all students as well. Then on the top of the deck, number 9, chamomile, inner peace. Finding that inner peace, going back to what I was just talking about, the calmness, taking time to find that inner peace. Embracing it when we do find it. All right, 48, Kava Kava. I think the last time we got this card, it was the day where I ended up taking 4 of them, so I didn't read the whole card. We just read the cliff notes of it. All right, celebration, kinship with tribe, community, friendship, union, finding your chosen family. Astrological ruler, Pluto and Moon. How did that come up yesterday? Somebody was talking about being mad when they found out that Pluto wasn't a planet. Oh, it was when I was on the bus going to town yesterday. That's crazy. See, little signs and synchronicities, they come up everywhere. All right. Kava in Tongan means bitter, and in Hawaiian it's called awa. Legend has it that kava was brought over to the islands by the gods Cain and Kinola from their ancestral Polynesia. Kava was known as the drink of the gods and honored across the Pacific Islands. Kava is believed to first have originated in northern Vanuatu thousands of years ago. Considering the plant lacks seeds or means of yes. Okay, we did read this whole card when we got it. It is believed that it was tended to by the gods until the first indigenous people arrived. Kava tea was regarded as a blessing and poured onto shrines, then later drunk by a spiritual leader of the ceremony. It was considered holy and only given to those of high rank, but eventually it became more widely accessible and to this day is drunk in ceremony to bring the community together. Kava has a very relaxing effect. It can help with anxiety. Sometimes called the intoxicating pepper, the effects of kava are a curious combination of deep relaxation alongside stimulation of the central nervous system. Kava is relaxing to muscles and dampens pain while increasing the flow of thoughts. Kava can greatly increase mental clarity, ease depression, confusion, and sorrow, and sharpen intuition. Kava directly affects the limbic system, the control center of our emotions, just as the moon does. Platonian herbs like kava cause deep transformation in our emotional mind. The energy of Pluto is that of regeneration, allowing us to decompress from accumulated emotions throughout the volcanic power of Catharis. Guidance. Kava's energy moves through our nervous system like a butterfly, relaxing, widening, and assisting us in surrendering. Although you might be amid an important moment in your life, remember that you do not have to do it alone. When you widen your circles intentionally, you receive support from the universe and others to join you on the path. To fully draw upon Butterfly's medicine, it gently invites us to observe our position in the community in this moment. Are you a protector, creator, connector, or visionary? And how does that correlate this moment in your life alongside your personal evolution? Egg, caterpillar, cocoon, or butterfly? Oftentimes, finding your purpose within your community and the parallels with your inner journey can provide great relief and meaning. So, very much connecting with what we read with the wolf card, finding your place in your community. Are you a teacher? Are you a healer? Are you a lover? Are you a leader? My mom used kava kava a lot when I was growing up. Kava kava and St. John's wort. Beautiful, beautiful energy. Hello, Iron Man. How are you? It's good to see you. I hope you're having a good day today. Sending you much love. It's good to see you. All right, now we'll pull from the Mary Magdalene and we'll be done. Sometimes our community comes into our lives when we least expect it. Community doesn't necessarily always mean family. Sometimes our family can be the ones holding us back from finding our true place, from embracing our true role in this journey. On our healing journey, we really find out where our true strengths are. Are you a lover? Are you a fighter? Are you a healer? Are you a teacher? Are you a hunter, a gatherer? Back in the day, before grocery stores and shopping malls and all that, everybody had a job in the community. It took a village it took a community to make it work. That old saying, it takes a village to raise a child. It takes a community to truly be able to embrace all the things that this life has to offer. All right. Mary, full of grace, what advice can you give us today? This is the Mary Magdalene Oracle by Megan Watterson. All right. I've been trying to get in the habit of showing the decks. Eventually, once I get my internet service and can use the laptop all the time, I'm going to work on getting the links from Amazon for all the different decks. Because all of these decks, every deck that I use, I've gotten from Amazon. All the way back to the original decks that I started with, the Chakra Wisdom cards and the Wild Offering Oracle. The Anointed, I rise with only more soul. So many phases of death and rebirth throughout our lives. Card number 20. All right. One of the most significant names used to identify Christ by the earliest group of people to document his teachings was the Greek word Christos, which means someone anointed with oil or simply the anointed. After Mary Magdalene anoints Christ with the spikenard and washes his feet with her hair before his crucifixion, Christ says in the Gospel of Matthew, quote, "I tell you, wherever in the whole world this good news is proclaimed, what this woman has done will be told in memory of her," end quote, referencing Matthew 26, verse 13. When Judas is horrified that Mary wastes such an excessive amount of oil, Christ explains that it was actually good, and it was intended that Mary save this oil to prepare for his burial. It was intended. This was what had been intended all along. Mary Magdalene was the one who was meant to assist Christ in his transition from this life to the next. The ornate jar Mary holds in so many of the paintings and icons of her is filled with holy oil used to anoint the body before burial. The priests and priestesses of the Egyptian goddess Isis anointed the body as a way to assist in the transition from this life to the next while remaining conscious. And if we see the resurrection narrative as a metaphor, the anointing ritual becomes the passage from the death of the ego, the limited egoic self, into the expansive realm of the soul. This is the transformation of consciousness at the heart of the Christian tradition, and Mary Magdalene is the one who shows us the way. Anointing, then, in its original context, is the act of consciously acknowledging that the physical body passes away, but the soul within the body does not. And each time we consciously die to the ego, each time we allow ourselves to die to what we were in order to rise more aware of the soul of who we are now, we are anointed. And we do this in memory of her. The soul voice meditation. What aspect of my soul am I aware of in this moment? Going back to our angel numbers. 000 with reflect, 818 with breaking old patterns, and 1551 keep your dreams. You know, understanding that we all, certain parts of us have to die on this journey so that we can embrace who we're truly meant to be, the role that we're truly meant to play. Whether you're meant to be a leader, a teacher, a healer, a lover, a fighter, a hunter, a gatherer, whatever your role is meant to be, certain parts of us have to die so that we can embrace those new parts of ourselves. And in that death and rebirth process, you know, yes, we have to let go of insecurities. We have to step out in fear, but stepping out despite the fear also requires stepping out in faith. Not only faith in ourselves, faith in the divine, faith that our community, our tribe will embrace the journey with us. Mary played the role of showing others how to do it. She was a teacher. She learned from the ultimate teacher. No matter how you interpret biblical scripture, when she met Jesus, no matter what role you give any of them, when she met him, she was broken in so many ways. And he helped heal her. he loved her in a way that she embraced the healing, and then that became her strength. She became a healer. But she had to learn from a teacher before she could fill that role, right? And we all have that. We are all teachers and we are all students. And that's a big part of the journey that a lot of people miss because of their ego. They get arrogant. And a lot of people, unfortunately, it's because they focus on the material. They focus on the money. They focus on the things that aren't really important, so they miss it. And, to each their own, whatever you believe in, but I do believe in reincarnation, and I believe that when those lessons are not learned, we have to reincarnate and come back and learn those lessons. And they're not always bad lessons. A lot of times, the lessons that we need to learn are how to love ourselves, how to embrace the things that are really important and not get consumed by this world. A lot of people mistake it when they say money is the root of all evil. Money itself is not evil. It's an object. It can't be evil. But the love of money can cause people to be evil. The love of material possessions. Some of the greatest minds of our time are people that didn't care about money. They didn't care about material possessions. I'm not saying that all of them are like that. You too, have a great day. Be safe. Enjoy your weekend. That's not always the case, but in a lot of cases, the people that we can learn the most from are the people that embrace this true journey for what it is. And we should all do that. We should all embrace who we are and our own journey, and not make decisions based on what's best for other people, but make those decisions based off of what's best for us. As always, be grateful for what you have, the big, the small, and the blessings yet to come, because it could all be gone in the blink of an eye. Like I said at the beginning of this video, healthy people die every day. We're not guaranteed tomorrow. So, going back to our celestial insight, embrace the time that you have. Cherish the journey that you're on, and know that as long as you do that, no matter what comes up against you, the divine will always be there, loving, guiding you, encouraging you, and, giving you those little nudges that we need to go in the right direction. As always, be grateful for what you have, the big, the small, and the blessings yet to come. If you see a need out there today, tomorrow, next week, if there's any possible way that you can fill that need, please do so. You may not only better their day, but you could possibly change their life, and you never know the impact it could have on yours. Stay sweet, be safe, and I'll see you next time.